Hi guys, welcome back. I am Stu and this is Diamond Heights for Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic. Now Diamond Heights is one of the first scenarios in the game, so we completed this way back at the beginning of 2017. So we've been playing through the scenarios now. It's now September, so we're about 9 months into playing through. We've done maybe about 80 scenarios, so we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot about building coasters and building parks, and especially about building parks with a good park value. Because when we played this game, I had played Roller Coaster Tycoon before on the PCs, but I wasn't new to it, but I wasn't as good as I am now after playing 80 scenarios or so. So what I thought I'd do is we'll have a look at the previous save, the park that we completed back at the beginning of 2017, and we'll have a look at maybe some of the things that we did right, or some of the things I liked, and some of the things where I think we can improve on. So just a quick recap then. Diamond Heights is already a successful theme park with great rides. Develop it to double its value. Your objective: to achieve a park value of at least 300,000 by October year 3. So we'll have a quick look at the park as it is to begin with. So we've got a spiral coaster, we have got a railroad, we've got a log flume. What have we got there? That's the spiral ride again, and we've got a mine car ride, a wild mine car ride there, and then just here then we've got 2 looping roller coasters. Now, one thing about the park value scenarios is if you have more than one of the same type of ride, it does penalize you for each additional ride. So what I'll do is I'll also in the notes for the video, I will post a link to a very good write-up on explaining park value by someone who's taken a look at the coding for the game, and I'll also mention a few things as well that I've learned from reading that. So what I'll do now is I will load up the save that we had from the first game, and then we'll have a look to see where we can improve things. Okay, so this is the original Diamond Heights that we played through. We've got a park value of 380,000. There's a lot of rides in here. What I did first of all was I got rid of all the existing rides and pathing. I built a path leading down to here, built a lot of flat rides, because I like building flat rides at the beginning of a park because they do bring a lot of guests in. Now on this park you don't need high guest numbers, but the more guests in your park, that will increase the park value. Each guest does add a little bit to park value, and also the more guests you've got going on your rides, that also increases your park value. So when it's sunny and guests are going on the rides, you will have a slightly higher park value than when it's raining and guests aren't going on the rides. So as we can see, I've got numerous duplicate rides. We've got 2 pirate ships, we've got 4 spiral slides, we've got 2 drop towers, and then I've got, I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 looping roller coasters and 2 wooden coasters. So pretty much everything we've got in the park. Just over here we've got 2 junior coasters. So pretty much everything that we've got in the park is going to have a penalty on it. So I've got all these roller coasters. Now it's not going to earn me, each one of these roller coasters is not going to earn me the full amount, because with each one that we've built we're going to have a penalty on each of those. Now one thing I do like is I do like the way I've pathed down to the bottom and got some flat rides here, and I do like the fact that I got rid of the existing rides beforehand, because that gives us a lot of money and it also frees up a lot of space, because I think we can use the space a lot more efficiently than the way it was with all the pre-built rides. Also as well, as time goes on, rides will lose a bit of value. So the rides that were down to begin with, they'll be worth a certain value. By the time we finish the game, October year 3, they'll be worth a bit less. So that's another reason why I like to get rid of the rides. And I think what we'll do is when we play through again, we'll aim to have the bigger rides towards the end. That way then they'll have the bigger rides, like a big wooden coaster will have a higher park value given to it. So we'll aim to have that last so that it won't lose any value throughout the remainder of the game. Right, okay, so first thing I want to do then is have a look to see what rides we've already got unlocked. So we've got a transport ride, we've got not a great selection of gentle rides, but these 3 here can be put down quite quick and they'll help bring the guests in. We've got a few roller coasters, nothing great, but enough to get us going. Let's have a look then. Thrill rides, again, not really enough to get us going. Some water rides and a few shops. I think what I'll do then, I'll put my research into shops to begin with, just to unlock a few more, and then I'll switch up to thrill rides. And then whilst I'm doing that, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to close all the rides down, and then I'll start dropping down some no entry signs, because what I want to do is I want to get all the guests to come back towards the park entrance. So what I'll do is I'll put down a no entry sign. Say I put down an no entry sign there. That'll stop the guests going back this way. I'll close the park as well to enable them all to leave. That way, when I've deleted all the paths and the rides and I put my first rides down and I reopen, the guests that we've got coming into the park are all going to be brand new guests with brand new money. So I'm going to crack on with that. It is May year 1, so I've got 3 flat rides down then. I've got rid of all the guests from the park. The ones that are in now are new guests with new money. I haven't quite deleted all the paths yet, but I've got no entry signs to stop them venturing down to the part of the park I don't want them to go. I've got my umbrellas jacked up to £20. I'm charging for the park maps. It's something I normally don't do. It's just to get us, well, it's not to make us a profit, it's just so we don't lose any money for that. So the park value, just under 20,000. It's not going to be huge at the moment because we've only got a few rides down and we've only got a little bit of guests coming in, but this is just a nice start to get us to work down. So we want to work down to here, and then we're going to build across. In the first time I played, I did do my favorite 4x4 pathing along the bottom. I'm not going to bother doing that this time. It costs a lot of money to do because you've got to put down the extra pathing, and we don't really need to, because it doesn't really matter how many guests, and the park rating doesn't really matter for this one. I like to do the 4x4 pathing because it makes it easier to zone staff and lay out the park, and it stops the park being overcrowded as easy. In this scenario, it's nice if we've got the guests in the parks. It does add a little bit of value, but it's not critical. So I'm going to carry on. I'm going to switch my research to thrill rides now, because I want to build a few more flat rides, and then we can look at roller coasters. It is August year 1, so I've got a few more rides down then. I haven't got any duplicates because duplicates will give you a penalty. I've got, just over here, I've got a log flume and go-karts. Now, these 2 rides will earn you a big bonus. These are the 2 premium rides for park value scenarios. So with the go-karts then, I'm charging an extortionate £20 a go. That's the maximum. And if you notice, I've got a much longer than normal queue. Now, I don't normally have huge queue lines in the game. Reason for that is if the guests are in the queues, they're not spending money elsewhere. But because there's a lot of rainfall in this game, any guests that are already in the queue will still go on the ride. But if it's raining, guests may not, or most guests won't join the ride. Some will, but most won't join the ride. So what I figure is, with the queue length being this long, I've got enough of a buffer so that when it rains, and no guests to join in the queue. I've got enough guests already in the queue to see me through until the end of the rainstorm. So money wise now, just under 4,000 we're earning a month. Park value, just over 100,000. So that's pretty cool. We haven't even got any roller coasters yet. We need 300,000, so we're already a third of the way to that, and we're just under a third of the way through it, and we haven't even got roller coasters. So once we start building roller coasters, that park value will shoot up. It is October year 1, so I've built some pathing down here, nice little pathing loop, so I can start building my roller coasters. I'm still researching thrill rides. As you can see, I've got a few more just up here, but I am going to start building my coasters. Eventually I'll switch my research to coasters, but I figure at the moment we've got enough to crack on with. It is June year 2, so we've added a 3D cinema, and then we've started building the coasters. Just over here we've got a wild mine train, good excitement on that. We've got a spiral coaster, good excitement on that, and then we've got a dinghy ride, good excitement on that. Money wise, not great, but enough that we're earning more than we can spend at the moment. I've reduced the go-karts down now to £15 a go. They weren't paying the 20, but they are happy to pay the 15. Well, are they happy? Who knows, but they're paying it all the same. So we're doing all right. We know we're not doing too bad. Park value, oh, there you go, it's just changed slightly, so it's just over 200,000, and we're halfway through. So we need 300,000. We're 2/3 of the way there. We're halfway through the time, so we should be fine. Remember, we haven't even got a wooden coaster down or the looping coaster. We can build some big, ridiculously expensive coasters for those. So what I want to do is I want to try and beat the target first, and then leave those 2 big coasters till the end, so we can make sure that we complete it. It is October year 2, so we've got a mini coaster, good excitement on that. We've got a wild mouse, good excitement on that, and we've got a bumper boats just underneath, so we're earning good money from the park now. So we've got 10,000 a month, park values up to 216,000. We're just trying to add one of each of everything we've got. Just over here then, I'm even building a bobsleigh, and I hate building these, but we'll give it a go. Now, if you remember the first time we played through this, I showed you the video earlier, I had about 14 looping roller coasters, because they were, and they probably still are my favorite coasters, but you do get a penalty for the more duplicates that you build. You do get a penalty for them, and I think the reason why I built so many is simply because they're the ones that I was the best at building. Having played about 80 scenarios now, we've built hundreds, possibly even thousands of coasters since we played this the first time, so we're a lot more confident at building coasters of all different types. So back then I'd never have tried a spiral coaster. I would have had a go at these the wild mouse and the wild mine train, but it probably wouldn't have been as good. The tube ride, I probably wouldn't have had a go at one of them, and I definitely wouldn't have had a go at the bobsleigh ride. But we'll crack on, we'll try and build one of everything, and then we'll see how we do. It is March year 3, so I finished off the bobsleigh then. Not very good excitement on them. I do struggle with them, but oh well. One thing I have done is I have reduced the prices of the shop, so I've got all the shops down to free. I've got all the flat rides down to free as well. The umbrellas I've got down to £2, because that way then we're breaking even on them. Because one thing I want to do is I want to try and build the amount of guests in the park. We don't need a high guest total, but the more guests you have in the park, the more park value you have. I think every guest adds I don't know, £1 or £2 or something to the park value, so that could help us. That could be the deciding factor. It probably won't be, but I just want to try and raise it up a little bit as I can. I think what I'll do as well is right at the end of the game, I will make all the high throughput rides free. So when we put down a wooden coaster or a looping coaster or something like that, I'll make those free. That way then that'll boost us as well, because you do get a park value bonus for the more guests you've got going on the rides. So park value now up to 234,000. Haven't really done much. We've got plenty of time to get that raised, and we've got the wooden coaster, we've got a looping coaster. Let's see what else we've got. Yeah, we've got quite a few things to add. So I'm just going to crack on with the building then, and then we can see where we are in a few months' time. It is June year 3, so we've got a Virginia reel. Good excitement on that, and we've got an inverted coaster as well. Good excitement on that. Let's take a look at the value then. 277,000, so we're not far off then. Now one of the reasons for replaying this, it isn't to beat the total that we set, it's to try and do it in an easier manner, because last time we played it, it was pretty much non-stop building all the way through. With this one, because we're not building as many rides, we're not building as much pathing, we're not terraforming as much, so it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier on the fingertips on the touchscreen. So I'm going to crack on with the building then, and we can review it in a few months. It is July year 3, so I've just built my looping coaster, and it's quite a big one. We're earning so much money now, we can just chuck tons of cash at the coaster. Good excitement on that, and the park value 311,000. So as things stand, just dropped now to 309. As things stand, we are going to pass. If it was October now, we would pass. The rides might lose a little bit of value, plus it could rain, so that could drop our value a little bit as well with less guests going on the rides. But I'm quite confident we're going to pass the scenario, and we still haven't built a wooden coaster as well. So that's what I'm going to build, and then that should see us complete the scenario quite comfortably. It is October year 3, and we are replaying Diamond Heights. It is probably one of the most difficult scenarios in the game, based on where you would be in the game when you first play it, because it's in the first tier of the game, and it's more difficult than some of the scenarios that come later in the game. But as long as you know what you're doing, it's okay, it's not too bad. So what I've done now is I was just over the target of 300,000 after building the purple looper there, so I plan to end on a large wooden coaster, and that's what I've done. So I've added this large wooden Mobius coaster. So a Mobius coaster is one roller coaster which has got 2 or more tracks, and so the station you start in, you will then finish in the opposite station. The reason for doing that is because if you have duplicate rides, it will penalize you. You will get a little bit less added to your park value than if you had just one ride. So good excitement on this one. Park value 362,000, which is, I think that's more or less what we had the first time we played this scenario through. But the first time we played it through, we had 18 roller coasters, I think it was. Most of them were duplicates. There was 14 different looping coasters, 2 different wooden coasters, 2 different junior coasters. On this one, so this wooden coaster, that's coaster number 9 in my park. So I've only got half as many roller coasters, so it's been much easier to play through. And when I say easier, what I mean by that is easier on my fingertips on the touchscreen, and it means I can take a bit of a break every now and then, whereas the first time we played it, it was pretty much non-stop building, because every single duplicate ride we built was giving us a little bit of a penalty, so it wasn't giving us as big a bonus as it would have as I have now, where I've built all different rides. So we haven't got a duplicate ride in the park. Every single ride we've built has been of a different type. So what we did then, we came in, got rid of the existing rides and the pathing that we didn't have time to delete. I no entry signs, closed the park, got all the guests out, reopened it when we added some new rides. The 3 flat rides here were the first 3 rides I built: Pirate Ship, Carousel and Spiral Slide. Opened the park up, got new guests in with new money, dropped information kiosk down, charging £20 for umbrellas on that. At the moment, only £2, because I just want to break even with these. I'm not interested in making profit anymore. We've made tons of cash, so we've made enough money, and we had around 900 or so guests. Now, we don't need a lot of guests in this park, but the more guests we have in the park, it does give us a bit of an extra boost on park value. Plus it does give us a bit of a boost on ride throughput. The higher the ride throughput, the higher the park value bonus it gives you. So from there then, carried on. I was researching thrill rides, built down here, one of each type that we were unlocking. Then I started building my pathing loops, and then we've built coasters as and where we can, just around the outside. There's a lot of sick around the place, that's fine. I haven't got enough handymen. It doesn't matter, because park rating and doesn't take away from the value, and sick doesn't add any value either, which probably doesn't surprise you. It doesn't take anything off either as well. So coming up to October year 3, and the park value is now 384. I've reduced the price of my roller coasters, so they're all free now, because I want to get as many guests as I can on the roller coasters. So we've got higher throughput, and then that'll give us a bonus. So at the moment, just under 7,000 guests per hour on this wooden coaster, so that's giving us a nice bonus. 391,000 park value now, so we've got a higher park value than we had the first time we played it, and we've completed it. But the company values are not quite as high, so for some reason it won't let me add my name. So something's happened, it wasn't as high. Is it the company value? I'm not sure about that. I probably should know by now. But yeah, so that was a lot easier to play through this time. One of the reasons for that obviously is because I've completed about 80 scenarios now, so we're a lot better at building coasters and playing the game as well, and approaching different scenario goals in a different way, because there are different scenario types and you can't approach them all the same way. I suppose you can, but it's easier if you approach them all in a slightly different way. And yeah, this was quite fun to replay it. It's quite fun because it's nice to see how much we've learnt and how much we've improved in the 9 months or so that we've been playing Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic. And hopefully this video will help people. I think the main things to remember on a park value scenario is try not to duplicate rides. So that on this one now I've gone for one of each type, and also try to get some high throughput on your coasters, and aim for, when you do build coasters, aim for bigger and more expensive coasters, and if possible try and get the biggest and baddest ones right at the end, like I've done with this one here. And it's pretty cool, I think. Not a bad coaster. What's the throughput on it now? 6,200, and there you go, the park value's dropped a little as well, but it will do because the rides have gotten a little bit older. So I am Stu, hope you enjoyed the video. Any questions or feedback, drop them in the comment section. One of the reasons for replaying Diamond Heights is because it was, or still is, my most watched video on the channel. And back when I did it originally, I was using the internal microphone on my tablet. I've now got a headset, so hopefully the audio will be a lot better. It's certainly a lot louder, and hopefully people will find this video a lot better than the last one, because I know with the last one, because I pretty much spammed looping coasters down, and there was a lot of work, and if you're not that quick at building, then it will be quite difficult for you. But that's a wrap for today. I am Stu. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.